friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Story Kit Crush Fridays. Today Krystal and I are still crushing the habit story kit, and I wanted to tell the story of a habit. So I know when we had talked about like my first video for the habit story kit crush series, I can't get that out. I said we were going to talk about current habits, and so I wanted to document a habit that I had for the month of July, which was my positivity passport. And it's kind of fun. Krystal and I, you know what they say about like great minds and all that stuff? Krystal and I almost always have like similar story ideas when we decide that we're going to do these kits, and I knew that I wanted to use one of my weeks to document my positivity passport. So that's what we are doing this week. Now, if you don't know what the Positivity Passport Challenge is, my friend Christine at Everyday Explorers Co. released these really fun tiny notebooks where you could document a good thing every day. And so I, demanded, in typical Tashi fashion, demanded that the community go on this adventure with me. And so a bunch of us decided to document a win every day in the month of July. And I have a new setup right now, and I'm starting to realize that my lights really reflect off of the door of my Misti, so I hope that doesn't torture anybody. Sorry about that. I'm still trying to figure out my new lighting setup after I redid my craft area. These are really nice lights, but I'm guessing that anything like glass on my desk is going to be really reflective, so I hope that doesn't bother anybody. But yeah, so I wanted to document my positivity passport, and so I printed out a few things. And my idea for this page was, since I documented my positivity passport in a notebook, was to make kind of a notebook style spread, if that makes any sense. So I have some things to make a pocket, and then I have just dropped my inks. And then I have 3 photos that I'm going to print out to 3 photos that I printed out that I'm going to use to make a little like flip out book style thing. It'll make more sense when you see everything, but I'm going to start with my stamping, because I've realized that my last few projects, not just for the habit story kit, but for a lot of my story kits, I almost never use the stamps, and I always, I subscribe to the stamps, so I always get the stamps and I never use them. So I figured, since I never use the stamps, I wanted to find some way to use the stamps on this page. So what I did was I took a 3x8 canvas. Everything that's going in my little pocket is going to be 3x8. So I took a 3x8 canvas, and I took a 3x4 card that had this Happiness is a Habit Cultivated piece, and I put it on the bottom of the canvas, and now I stamped this little checkbox from the story kit stamp, and I'm going to do some repeat stamping with this stamp that says Happy Mind, Happy Life. I'm going to do that with some Concord and 9th inks, and then I'll come right back when I'm done, so you don't have to watch me do that stamping as I drop everything. So I'll be right back after I finish the stamping, and then we'll continue with the rest of this page. Alright, so I went ahead and I did my stamping, and I used my Concord and 9th inks, and I used Peacock, Cranberry, and Stardust, because I thought those colors would go really well with the kit, and I just masked it with some purple tape. This is one of the things I've really been enjoying doing, is masking my stamping, because then I can stamp over like an existing embellishment, and I don't have to worry about keeping that clean line. And I think that looks really, really good. So I'm going to quickly write in Positivity Passport. And then I will go ahead and I will check all those days off. I want to see what day of the month July started on, so I know what day to actually start this on. So I'll go ahead and check that off camera. The other thing I did to get ready was there was this paper pad in the habit kit. Also, I'm covered in ink. I'm not a clean stamper at all. It's the worst. That said Make It Happen. So I just took this Make It Happen and did some kind of storyboarding about the Positivity Passport Challenge. And then I took this 3x4 card that said Obsessed with This 3 times. And I did some journaling about what I was obsessed with about this challenge. So the plan is to put this in a pocket. So this is a 4x6 card that I repeated, and I didn't repeat it well. You can kind of see that line where they overlap, but that doesn't matter because it's a pocket. And I took this card that was a 4x6 card and I enlarged it so it was the length of this page outside of the page protector. So this card is now 6 3/4. And I'm just gonna make a pocket for to hold my little story pieces. So I'm just gonna use an ATG and stick this down only on the, obviously on the outsides to make a pocket for my story pieces. So we're just gonna go ahead and quickly do that. And when I repeated this card, I printed it at opacity 50, I think it was, so that the card wasn't as like bright and in your face as the original card was. Like I kind of just wanted it to be a background for my pieces so that they all kind of live in that pocket like that. Oh, I think that looks so good. All right, now they're also a little too tall. Probably should have seen this coming because these can't be that long. I gotta trim this down. I gotta trim a little bit of this off because if I make it as long as it is, then it doesn't fit in the pocket. So I'm just gonna, thankfully I gave myself a little bit of extra space on both of these pieces. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of them off and then they'll fit in the pocket. They'll fit in the pocket better. Actually, I could take a little bit more off of this. Okay. And that might bother someone that there's no white space on the edges, but that's not something that like phases me. Okay, so now let's put this back in. Oh, I love how that came out. Okay, so that's my little pocket element. I'm gonna punch holes in this. And then for the other side, I'm going to make, like I printed the cover of my Positivity Passport, and then I printed a picture that I had shared on Instagram of my first spread and my last spread in the book. So the thought process was I would glue these back to back so that this is the cover of my book. So this is the cover of my layout. And actually I have my Positivity Passport on my desk just to show you guys what the book looks like. And then it would open like a book, and then you would see my first spread and my last spread. And this would go opposite my pocket. So this, I love this card. Motivation is what gets you started. Habits what keeps you going. Because especially with a daily project like this, motivation and habit definitely are not the same thing. Like when I first started the project, I was super motivated, and don't get me wrong, there was nothing about this project in the month that was hard. Nothing was difficult here. But definitely making it a habit and like something that I did every day made it easy to get to the end of the month. So I'm just gonna quickly back these. Do I wanna do it that way? Not really. Okay, I can't back this yet because I have to put my, my cardstock is gonna be my seam. So I'm glad I thought about that before I stuck that down. All right, so I'm just gonna use some scrap cardstock. I should have scrap pieces of cardstock because I printed a bunch of pieces of paper. So I have a bit of scrap. I think this is 8.5. All right, so I'm gonna trim this down to 8.25. Also, you guys, this is what like making looks like in real time. Like I'm constantly like reevaluating the choices that I'm making and double checking things and making sure things are working the way they're supposed to. So I don't always have it together. Sometimes things work out and I'm like, yay. And sometimes as I'm working on something, I remember that I need another piece, or like, that I need something else to make the page work the way I want it to. And I need to put a hinge on this so that I can attach my pages to each other. So I'm gonna grab my tools, like my Martha Stewart. Guys, just pretend you don't hear like the apartment breaking around me. But I'm gonna grab my tools, like my Martha Stewart scoreboard, score this at 1 inch, which is the way I do all my hinges. Nothing like groundbreaking or new here. It's my favorite way to do flip outs. It's one of those things that if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's extra tape in here, so it's sticking to everything. All right, so I'm gonna put my hinge in here. And again, this is how I do all my flips. No, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick. Okay, okay, we're good. It didn't stick. All right, so I'm just going to line this up here, and I think it would just be easier to do it this way. So I'm gonna line this up on the inside of this page. Okay, now it can stick. And actually I gotta put adhesive on this side. So again, my idea for this was, since I'm documenting, oh my Lord, is my ATG breaking up with me? All right, guys, BRB while I fix my ATG. All right, ATG fixed, meltdown averted. I think my ATG is equal parts my favorite tool and the tool that I hate the most in my entire craft area, because I fight with this thing all the time. And again, I think part of the reason why I have such little success with my ATGs is because it's just not designed for left-handed people, and I am left-handed. So I'm constantly making a tool that was not designed for me, constantly trying to make a tool that was not designed for me work, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. All right, so we have the skeleton of my project pretty much put together. So I have my flip element done, I have my fun pocket ready. Pretty much this whole thing is ready. So now all I'm gonna do is figure out how I wanna embellish this page, and that is that. So I'm gonna grab, I think the chipboard and the stickers. And maybe we'll do, oh, I like this making it happen piece. So we could go with this habit. I want to use the colors that I did my stamping in. So we could go with this habit in the yellow, working on it in the blue, and put the making it happen in the red. All right, so let's figure out this yellow one kind of has to go right here. And again, I'm just repeating the colors that I used in my stamping. That's part of the reason why I picked this color scheme, because I wanted to make sure that I picked elements and embellishments that would match with the kit. I really like how that little circle cluster looks. Like I like little impactful things like that that don't take a bunch of like effort. So we're just gonna repeat it. So we're gonna do my habits over here. So we'll go with yes I can, and this is me. So same thing, we'll put the yellow sticker down, kind of situate where I want that teal sticker, put this red one a little bit more offset so it's not like a perfect triangle-ish shape that the other embellishment cluster was, and repeat this and put this my habits piece. This is me, my habits, yes I can. Love that. All right, so I think that's all I want to do as far as embellishing goes. I don't think I want to do... There are days where I I love this circle chipboard element, but there's also days that I really wish I had a banner piece that I could put down here. So I'm gonna go in my chipboard stash and see if there are any banners I have. So this is how I sort my chipboard after I've pretty much finished a sheet. I punch all the elements out and I keep them sorted by shape, because every now and then there's just a particular shape that I want. Saw that, loved that. Ooh, that's actually really good. That's kind of perfect. All right, so we're gonna go with that. Saw that, loved that. So I think that's the exact sentiment I want, and it's a nice skinny piece, so it won't take up so much space. There we go, you guys, that is pretty much my project. So the only thing we have to figure out now is how I'm going to get it into my binder. So my plan is to first just punch the holes. Now, can I fit all 3 sheets into my hole punch? Probably not. My hole punch is probably like, Tashiana, leave me alone. So I'm going to punch just the holes in this side. And then I'm going to use my power punch to punch holes again. And then I'm going to cut little slits in the holes so that you can actually like flip that top page in and out the album without it getting like caught on the pages, because I didn't want to make this page shorter than the page behind it. That's just a design choice. So we will quickly punch these holes out, cut slits in that top hole, and I will see you when this is in my book. And I am moving into my new binder because I've already done the flip through of my previous one, and my previous binder is like screaming for mercy. So I'm gonna quickly punch holes and get this into the book, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm just about done with this, but after I was looking at it, I decided I wanted to put some tabs to make it easier to pull out my story. Now, I didn't leave myself much margin on this one, so the tab is just gonna have to be a little bit off center of my my journaling, and perfectly, the tabs that I have match the colors that I use on this page. It's kind of serendipitous. I like when scrapbooking's serendipitous and you don't have to do any like hard work. It's just very easy. So quickly just putting some tabs on this, like one kind of left adjusted aligned, I guess, one kind of right aligned, and then one kind of centered, and just putting these back in the pocket. Oh, I love how those look in there. I think that looks super fun. And then again, it's just another interactive element. I love having interactive elements on my page. And then for this, I punched the holes and then I cut little slits in the holes so that I can open this without having to open the rings. I mean, this is too far on my desk for you to see, but I can open this without having to open the rings. And then I can just quickly pop that back in and it stays shut. So I have my cover. And then I like having just the pictures of my work. Now, I have these pictures on Instagram, so there are other places that I can refer back to it, but just having it in the album for the story I think is really fun. So I'll quickly read you my journaling. This is another project where I did more of a list style. So it said obsessed with this. So I use obsessed with this as a prompt, which is one of my favorite things to do when you have journaling cards and you don't know where to start with your story, is to use your materials as a prompt. So I wrote, obsessed with this relentless pursuit of joy, even on the days where joy is less than forthcoming. Obsessed with being a joy seeker and all the things that means. Head down and blinders on to anything but the good. Not ignoring the bad that is ever present, but choosing instead to orient myself on the shining star of what I know to be true. This crazy, tragic, and weird life is still really, really lovely. Number 2, obsessed with community and with friendship and with solidarity. Obsessed with this little notebook that bound a bunch of friends and strangers with a cord made by the commitment to be joy seekers, even if it was temporary, and to not only see the good in the world, but to write it down, to dwell on it, to manifest it, and to repeat this every day. Obsessed with the people it brought into my life. Number 3, obsessed with the lessons this little book taught me. That the few moments, I put that twice, that happens to me all the time. That the few moments I spent working on this book every day were not wasted time, but a valuable period of pressing pause, and that looking for joy can be the good in and of itself. Obsessed with how this habit crawled into the very marrow of my bones and made room for itself, and how it has lingered long after this book is full. So some quick notes about what this habit has taught me. I love this like funky, colorful like pocket and how it matches my big photo with my 2 embellishment clusters. And I think we're gonna call this done. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're so inclined. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to head over to Krystal's video. Krystal's channel is just always linked in my my description for Story Kit Crush so that you can head on over to her and see what she's making. And again, that's all I have for you. So until next time, keep it crafty and have the best day, and I'll see you around. Bye!